Hello and welcome to Bookshall. In the series of contemporary books, I have chosen to review books on the Indian politics, and today I am going to tell you about a recent book with the title Emergency and Neo-Emergency. It's written by M.G. Devasahayam. Here is a disclaimer. I do not belong to any party, nor am I a supporter of any political thought. And I see things in a very objective manner, speak and write in the same manner and measure. Okay, coming back to the book, Emergency and Neo-Emergency, which has a tagline, Who will defend democracy? The tagline defines everything. Like Nazism and neo-Nazism in Germany, he brings in the parallel in India. For those who are born in the 80s or thereafter, here is a brush up is needed about the emergency of the early 1970s and the circumstances that led to the situation. First, we have to know who this Devasahayam is or what qualifies him to write this book. Yes, he was very close to Jayaprakash Narayan, JP, who led the movement against Indragandhi and Congress, and he was considered to be a son-like disciple of the gigantic JP. I have read Abhay Shukla's blog with the title The Struggle to Remember before telling you about the book. And what I found out is that there's nothing more that I could add, but as the show should continue, the struggle of man against power is the struggle of memory against forgetting, is the quote from the famous French novelist. Yes, struggle of memory against forgetting. I again repeat, struggle of memory against forgetting. Memory against forgetting. That is the emergency, and it is in two parts. The first one was that was imposed by Indira Gandhi in June 1975, and the second one, according to the writer, is since 2014. And what is the difference between the two is they are one. Now the writer, as DM or district magistrate or district collector, as it's called in some parts, had a close proximity to JP, who was the trigger for the 1975 emergency while he was imprisoned in a hospital. He learned from him firsthand and writes about great detail about the movement he had taken up, which caught the imagination of the entire nation and the ire of the ruling Congress. He admires him wholeheartedly, but disputes the great man's decision to include RSS as part of the total revolution. This could be why Indira refused to compromise, he writes. Both JP and Indira had failed democracy. The book details about a sequence of events that led to the infamous June 25, 1975 proclamation of emergency and the following midnight arrest, and how Indira Gandhi had to resign after the Allahabad High Court verdict. The legal battles before that and how the nation had faced constitutional challenges. Much before the Allahabad court verdict, the situation in the country was delicate with Nav Nirman Andolan in Gujarat, Sampurna Kranti Andolan of JP, the railway strike led by George Fernandez, and such events. All these led to the poll debacle of Congress in 1977 general elections, bringing the newly formed coalition of Janata Party at the helm. The second part deals with the familiar terrain on what has been happening since 2014. The comparison comes, which one of the two emergencies is more dangerous? The 18-month one imposed by Indira Gandhi, or the one that is going on in the country, and the writer minces no words in telling that the second one is more dangerous. Of course, he lists out the achievements of Narendra Modi's governance in his inimitable style, but at the same time describes demonetization as a state-sponsored money laundering operation of gigantic proportions. He writes about the mishandling of COVID, collapsed SMEs, CAA, and the legislations backed by data, government statements and analysis. Now, he also writes in great detail as to how democratic institutions have been demoralized or degraded and his writings are based on reports of three prominent NGOs. The institutions in question include Civil Services, Central Information Commission, CAG, NHRC, and others come under fire from the writer. Now, he also writes about Election Commission and its functioning in detail, giving electrifying examples from the recent times to prove his point. This is a book worth reading for those interested in political science and the happenings in the country, past and present. Some of the detailing has been very gripping as it comes from a person who was in the army, then he was in the civil services, and then into civil society. At some instances, he is bold and brazen, fearlessly calling spade a spade. However, he has his own limitations and ideological perceptions. But the book makes an interesting read whether you are a follower of the Nehruvian thought or belong to the Modi cult, as he tears into both the premises. So, thank you. See you in the next episode with more reviews. Thank you very much for watching Bookshall. Thank you very much.
Please subscribe to the channel and download the Politikos app from the links in the description.